Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? Today we are talking about it's crowded at the bottom. Why? Or why is it so crowded at the bottom? That's a really interesting question. And the first answer I'm going to give you is I don't know, but I'm going to talk about it today. And hopefully today you'll think about this bottom, I guess, being at the bottom and why so many people are down there and why more people aren't at the top. So let's just kind of discuss this for the next few minutes and see where we can go with it. What reasons can we come up with? And typically I like to, scour the Word of God to find out what's in the Word of God, to see what I can glean from it to try and answer the questions that I come up with. One of the answers I got back from the Lord in Proverbs today, Proverbs 19, verse 23. You should read that whole chapter today. I read the whole chapter every morning. But in chapter 19 of verse number 23, it says this: the fear of the Lord tendeth to life, and he that hath it shall abide satisfied. He shall not be visited with evil. Now, I read that a few times, and I was just like, man, that's an interesting saying that Solomon had. I'm gonna read it again. The fear of the Lord tendeth to life. Why so many people at the bottom, right? Then it says, he that hath it shall abide satisfied. Literally, like you just feel good about life. You feel fulfilled. But he shall not be visited with evil. So think about it. If we're at the bottom, if crabs in a barrel, you've heard that before, man, it's like crabs in a barrel. And crabs in a barrel, we understand what that looks like. Have you ever seen crabs in the barrel? I've seen crabs in the barrel, and I've looked down in the barrel, and they're all trying to get out. Everyone's at the bottom trying to get out. But as soon as one's going up and he's going to get, someone pulls a crab pulls down. So think about this. It's so negative down there. Everyone wants to get out, but they won't let anybody else out. As you know what? Well, you're going out, but I really want to go out. Well, let me see if I can hold on to you. But here's the thing: they try and hold on to the other crab, but he's like, I'm trying to get out. Maybe I can. You can see what I did, and they pull him down. It's crowded at the bottom. Why? Well, let's look at the crabs. The crabs telling us a story. So think about this. If someone's trying to get out, listen, that's why I love mentors. That's why I love coaches. That's why I love listening to people who've made it out of the barrel. I'm like, man, I'm coming out behind you. Hey, show me, what did you do to get out of there? But Solomon said, well, first, if you want life, fear the Lord. So who doesn't want life? Who doesn't, like, come on now. Who here does not desire their life? There's not a person. Hey, good morning, PB. There's not a person on the planet who does not desire their life. Everybody desires life. Even the person that commits suicide, they desire their life. They just got to the point where they didn't understand. They didn't have the fear of the Lord in them. So they said, you know what? I don't think that even if I'm having a good physical life, on the inside, my life is empty. And they were visited by evil. Evil showed up and said, hey, how you doing? Come with me. It's crowded at the bottom. Even for the successful people, right? The successful people, they get visited by the evil one, which the evil one just shows up and says, hey, this is what you're thinking about? Hey, let's go that way. But here's the thing. If you're going to be satisfied, if we're going to get out, we've got to praise. We got to praise others. Man, I heard Denzel Washington say something before that was powerful. He said so. He says, if you, let me make sure I get it right. To get something you've never had, you got to do something you've never done. Think about it. You're trying to get out of the barrel, right? And I've been climbing one way, but man, I may have to climb a different way. I may have to do more exercises to get stronger. Instead of trying to, hurt somebody else going out, maybe I can push them up. I'm going to get out and I'm going to watch them get out, and I'm going to say, man, one day I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to root them up, right? Because I believe that anybody at the bottom can get out. Listen, everybody at the top was at the bottom at some point. Yes, everybody at the top was at the bottom at some point. Colonel Sanders was at the bottom. He created Kentucky Fried Chicken. He made chicken, guys. He didn't go and invent anything. He didn't even go and invent ingredients. He just used them differently. He says, I'm going to use them a little different. And he did something that nobody else was doing. He started pressure cooking. It was a pressure cooker fryer. And no one else had ever tried that before. He says, wow, people, wow. He was at the bottom. Colonel Sanders at the bottom, but he made some chicken. Guys, do you see? It's not hard to get out the bottom. It's not hard to get to the top. See, most of us, I used to be at the bottom. I'm not at the bottom anymore. I'm at the top. Most of us, when we're at the bottom, we start comparing ourselves to the one that made it out. We'll compare ourselves to them and says, man, if I just had what they have, man, if I just had Colonel Sanders' chicken frying ability, man, if I just came up with that first, or man, if I was better than, Mr. Cathy, that created Chick-fil-A, all he did was fry some chicken. He said, I'm not going to fry the chicken with the bones in it. I'm going to take all the bones out. I'm going to just fry the chicken breast. That's all I'm frying is the chicken breast. Come on, Mr. Cathy, he's got the biggest. Chick-fil-A makes the most money in the fast food industry. The most money. They're killing everybody. Hey, but check this out. And they only do it in 6 days. And Chick-fil-A does not stay open past 10 o'clock, I believe. They don't even stay open late like McDonald's. You got some McDonald's stay open 24 hours. You got some McDonald's stay open to 12 and 1 o'clock. No, they close at like 10. They might have one that stays open to 11 somewhere, but I think 10 o'clock is when they close. Think about this. They have limited hours. And they take a day off. Wait a second. But he was at the bottom. He just had some chicken at one point. See, guys, getting out of the bottom, I'm going to tell you what it takes. Y'all ready? You ready? Are y'all ready for what it takes? All right. It's going to take some desire. You just got to have desire to get out. It's just going to take desire. And it's going to take a can-do attitude. It's going to take a will-do attitude. It's going to take I must-do attitude, right? Those are all winning words. Those are all success phrases. I can, I will, I must will turn into I did. And when you say I did, man, that's success in all of itself. It's like, whoa, I did it again. Look at that. Man, I created the Good Accounting Challenge. And look at that. Man, I created this beautiful, these workbooks, and man, I've created these things that it's like, wow, this is so interesting. Mr. Cathy was on a mission, and his mission was like, this is about family. This was about family. He created a culture, and I was listening to something that he did recently in how he got everybody to basically, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. You go to Chick-fil-A and you say, hey, can I get this? Can I get this? Thank you so much. The next thing coming out of their mouth is, it's my pleasure. Why? Because they've drilled that was a culture. But here's the thing, Mr. Cathy had to start doing it himself. See, guys, the first thing we got to do when we're making our way out of the bottom, what that says is that we're making our way out the bottom, but we're going to have to live all the stuff like this. This podcast is me telling you where I'm at. I'm telling you where I'm at. I'm just saying, hey, this is where I'm at. And because this is where I'm at, I just want you to know that when you see me and say, man, I remember when Jay was always doing those podcasts every day and whoa, he made it. I'm at the top already, baby. Yep. It's kind of like what Martin Luther King said. Martin Luther said, I've been to the top. I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen where I'm going. I know where I'm going. And because I know where I'm going, I don't have anything to fret. I don't have to worry about whether or not somebody's pulling me down. You can't pull me down. You can't pull me down because where I'm going, only I can go and you can't come. What I mean by that, I have to fulfill what it is that God gave me to fulfill, right? That's it. That's what God gave me. He gave you something too. That's your job to find that out. When you find out what God has given you, that's when you will move out of the bottom. But you might get out. You don't want to get out. I'm about to end here. You don't want to get out of the bottom. You don't want to make it to the top and not know what God said about you. Because there's so many people at the top that don't know what God said about them. And on the inside of them, they have nothing. But on the outside of them, they have everything. What would you rather? Most people would say, you know what, I'd rather go ahead and take my chances on getting everything. Now, I'd much rather take my chances on having all that money. Yeah, take a chance on that. But ensure that as you take the chance and you get it, you don't want to miss getting the inside checked, getting the inside successful. Because the way God sees it, when we manage what he's given us, when we are responsible for the mission, the vision, the goals that he's given us, then we are successful. Guys, it's crowded at the bottom. But to get something you've never had, you got to do something you never did. That's Denzel Washington, guys. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.